everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call, the Star Citizen podcast where myself and Croncy talk Star Citizen. Crazy. Think about that. And sometimes
we actually talk podcasts while we're playing Star Citizen.
True.
That's the topic.
Yeah. But this one is, can CIG salvage this year or so? And I think
Which,
a lot
by the
of
way,
people...
would have been a great topic for last year while we were waiting for Salvage.
Yeah.
Would have been such a banger title.
Yeah. Well, they kind of ruined Salvage in some people's minds. I think they balanced it correctly, but some people are like, they ruined it. But yeah, Answer the Call is a podcast where myself and Croncy talk about Star Citizen. But the special thing that we do is we open the calls to you guys, the Answer the Call part, and we allow you guys to talk about the topic at hand. And you use the platform that we built to be heard, where a lot of podcasts, I mean, this podcast has been going on for years. And the reason for it was, it seemed like there was a monopoly on voices for a while, and that was the idea behind this podcast. So if you're new to this podcast, get subscribed, check it out. Check us out on YouTube, and we have a Discord and everything as well if you want to be a part of the call. So if you're watching on YouTube, it'll be in the description or posted in chat. Same thing here on Twitch as well. So before we get into the topic, we do like to talk about the week that happened. And this was the slowest week we've had in a while, but it wasn't too slow in terms of things going on. It just, there wasn't video content and there just wasn't as many things, but there wasn't nothing. Things definitely happened.
This happens every year, the couple of weeks before Citizencon, because obviously
totally expected.
They're preparing all of their like visual content for that. I do still imagine that we should still get a monthly report this coming week, but obviously, you know, the times didn't work out for that. So yeah, just not much, but lots of Evo testing. And one thing that has been brought up in at least the YouTube chat a couple of times that I had forgotten about is lots of alluding to Squadron 42 at CitizenCon on Twitter from a bunch of different people.
Oh, I don't go on Twitter. So
Mark Hamill
had
a response tweet that was very much alluding to can't wait for Squadron. I was like, hey, you haven't talked about that in a while. So
they told
that's
you
probably
to.
alluding to something.
How much did that cost? That tweet cost?
Probably actually.
How much did that tweet cost? Interesting. Did it
Jeff
say
Zanelli
#ad?
as well. It didn't, no.
Okay, so it was free.
Yeah. Jeff Zanelli as well. The
composer.
Main composer.
Yep.
Posted a thing as well. So, and then I think like, you know, every CIG Twitter person then also just like quote retweeted those. But yeah, lots of alluding towards that, but kind of not unexpected.
I saw somebody, so I didn't go on Twitter, but I saw a tweet posted in our Discord, which was a guy who said, I've been working at CIG on Squadron 42 for the last 4 years. I can't wait to meet you guys at CitizenCon or something. So
and show you what I've done, I think was like the sort of part of the tweet. So
it's like, okay, kind of Squadron focused CitCon. Cool.
Exactly. That'll be probably a large portion of our predictions video will be like, what are they going to show at Squadron and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, makes sense.
Yep. And it goes in line. So just as far as people in the calls that are trying to think about what they want to talk about as far as can CIG salvage this year, can they salvage it through CitizenCon for you? So you can sort of predict what you're going to see there. We will do a proper prediction show once they release the schedule of...
Which should be this week, I believe.
Probably. Which will show the panels, because then we'll predict like what we think we're going to see at each panel. So that'll be a lot longer. We'll have a lot more fun with that. But a genuine like, hey, they didn't deliver a lot on last year's CitizenCon. What can they do this year to salvage what happened from last year, basically, is something that you could definitely talk about. Or just general patches, gameplay aspects, you know, and try to be realistic. I mean, yes, they could release the game and that would salvage this year, but like that's not possible, right? So,
man, crazy wild.
yeah. Just to keep it sort of on topic, but also spin it in the first thing that happened this week was Benoit got on Spectrum and did a whole post-mortem of the not finished yet server meshing testing. And I think it was pretty good in terms of he went through the test and explained from their perspective what happened and how things went, instead of players speculating on how successful it was. And I think a really important one, which I like to do, is cherry pick things that make my POV look like I'm not insane and crazy, because sometimes I feel insane and crazy in this community. And the Test B, which was the first meshing test that we had a couple weeks ago, were disappointing. Yet we had lots of people claiming that, you know, this is it. This is the greatest thing ever. It's happening. And like, no, man, it was disappointing. The level of confidence was not high coming out of that one for me.
Yeah.
But a lot of people were shitting on the way that other people felt when they were feeling disappointing. Yet the dev team felt disappointed, and people felt the need to defend the dev team that felt disappointed. But then,
I was gonna say, you know how refreshing it is to hear a dev say, "Yeah, this sucked."
Yeah,
so good.
Yes,
love it.
It is.
Yep.
You just want honesty, and
yeah.
But then, when you felt optimistic, so did they. So it was like, oh wow, this is so nice to see. So if you haven't read this post, really suggest you do. It just goes into detail on how the testing went for them and what they learned and what they're going to do kind of going forward. Now, the plan was to have a meshing test this week. I thought that's what we were probably going to talk most about this week, but it never happened. But that's okay, because they came out and said, lots of fixes from the previous tests. We're working hard on them, and we hope to have one for you early this coming week. So that's kind of exciting. And I just want to scroll down to this post. It has 411 upvotes. That is a lot of upvotes for Spectrum. And it straight up just says, this is a great report. I'm sure some of us would love to see this type of feedback from other teams at CIG. More of this. Please.
You have just FYI, you have become a robot for me, voice-wise. I don't know if that is also happening to everyone else right now.
Nobody's saying anything in Twitch chat, so it might be Aussie internet problems. Yeah, they're saying good here. Okay. How about YouTube?
Clean, apparently. YouTube seems fine as well. All right. So I'm cool. Not great for me. Rip me. YouTube saying it's all good.
I will say you sound great on my end. So could be little Discord problems of the channel.
Let me do a cheeky disconnect.
Yeah. Disconnect and come back, and I'll just bring you in. And that might help it. It's probably the channel, though. So we'll see. Oh, yeah, he's struggling. He's struggling. But while he is, and we'll get him back in. Now we're really struggling because I didn't do the intro, even though you guys warned me to. I will kind of bounce around on some things that happened this week. And the other things that happened were a Galactapedia update. Yeah, I think it's Discord and him. So I'm wondering if I can edit the channel and where it is. And region override to, like, US West. And make it easier for him.
And I can see everything fine.
Yep. So I just moved it to US West. That should help us. So you could probably turn your camera on.
Yeah, you're all good now.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that's what it was. Usually sometimes a region in Discord just shits itself, and then it goes.
Not my fault. Let's go.
Nah, it was Discord. Classic Discord. But yeah. This was like the only thing outside of Evo that happened this week for me. There were a few dev posts that I was talking about earlier that like I still haven't done Blockade Runner yet, because we were expecting Blockade Runner to work better, and that fix never happened. And then there's a few things like that, like devs talked about this week. One of them was, did you see the I'll have to find it, but did you see the Spectrum post where the guy mocked up the ASOP terminal and just made it good?
No.
Okay. So this was not a dev post. How will I do this? Let's see. I'm going. to go here, and I'm going to go. Actually, you might get covered for a second here. I got to open.
Oh, good.
Let's do this. Yeah, you are going to.
So this was just like a community mock-up of the.
Yes, so it was done by a member of the community.
Okay.
But it was so good that Niku jumped in on it and was like, "Yeah, shared this with the UI team." So I'll show these. It was really good. The post was from Biru. I'm gonna link the post in Twitch chat. If you can grab it and post it in YouTube chat for me. This is the post, and there's a bunch of images, and I'll bring it down for us so we could see.
I will say, but like the one problem I'm going to have with this is a dev responding and saying that we've sent it to the UI team
now
means we're now going to get flooded with people who are like, well,
yeah.
I could do it better. Here's the new thing.
Yeah, or just genuinely expecting it to work. So you have your ships, org ships, rented ships in tabs, and then you have like any status, any system, any location, and the name. Like 30 different filter options, and then just a little bit more information of what it can do as well.
Yep.
Which is kind of cool. And there's a few more.
Nice. My one problem, terrible mustard yellow. What are you doing, mate?
It's the same color.
Come on. Yeah, and it's gross.
Yeah, I agree, but I guess you didn't want to change it too much.
I like this a lot. I like the splitting of them.
Not hollow enough.
It's also very it still seems very on theme with like the shop terminals and stuff. Like just the basic searches and stuff. So I like that. The icons, it's all cool.
Yeah, and he said, absolutely, we have raised this thread to our team. But like him drawing it is just him visualizing the thing that the entire community has been saying forever. It's like, yo, can we just like filter our ASOP terminal a little bit, please? Can we not have a shit ASOP terminal? And that was pretty much it. So yeah, I mean, I thought that was fun. Now, outside of that, we're kind of stalling because I don't know if you guys know, Evo came out like 2 days ago, but for the first time ever, both Croncy and I didn't play it. Usually I play it and Croncy doesn't. And I explain what's going on.
I have a good reason this week is that it was my birthday, and then
happy birthday.
And then
he's the big 3-0 guys, so make sure you guys tell him his life. This is where it all goes downhill. This is do your knees hurt today?
I was saying, we did a stream on my birthday. Literally at 12:05, I got out of my chair and my knees cracked louder than they ever have in my life. So it's just immediate that it apparently happened. But I get to say that I joined Star Citizen in my 20s now. So I get to be an old head. That's how that works.
And we were talking about this before the podcast. I backed Star Citizen when I was 25.
Yep.
February of this coming year, I'm 40.
Oofed.
Like around 25, I think. Right?
Yeah, it was like 25.
2013.
Yeah. That's 11 years ago.
No.
Guys, I think Mike is bad at maths.
I could not have backed this game 11 years ago, right?
11 years ago, yeah, for sure.
No, because it was April or early 2013, so it was almost 12. So then I was 27 or whatever, but I was young.
Yeah. A lot of people were. Less than play the game now, but you still hear all their stories all the time. Because I feel like a lot of the veteran players are the ones that still play, like they don't. I feel like while the majority of players only backed in the last 4 years, I feel like those players played for less time, if that makes sense. Like they continue playing for less time. The veterans continue playing.
Yeah, and they have been for years.
Yeah,
I guess. But yeah, I mean, the only other thing we had was a Galactapedia. Now, interestingly, I guess I could bring that up too, is the Galactapedia was only on, not only, but it had mostly Sol system lore. And
interesting.
I was
so
like,
you're trying to say, you're trying to speculate?
I am speculating.
Yeah.
That
Okay.
are they going to be like this I'm trying not to curse that much on the show. Are they going to be this ridiculous that they're going to tease the Sol system at Citizencon, knowing full well they can't deliver something like Earth to us?
I would hazard a guess that it's got more to do probably with lore inside Squadron.
Fair. There's been a lot. That's a fair one because there's been a lot of Squadron lore over the last little bit.
Yeah.
But they have like Ganymede, Europa, Phoebe, like all these things that you would have seen in like The Expanse.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I know what all these things are because of The Expanse.
In real life, in our solar system, guys, these are real places.
Oh, well, yeah, that part as well. Well, I haven't forgotten they're real, but like they're more real in those sci-fi things because like they're actually there, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just I was just like, whoa, are they doing something with this at Citizencon? Are they going to try to tease this? Like, we're going to be doing many star systems. We're even going to do the Sol system. Look at it. You could see it right here.
I've been a big proponent of, in most sci-fi games, just don't do the Sol system. Don't let us go there.
Yeah,
it's always going to be really disappointing. I like the idea of like, hey, it's there, but it's locked off for weird lore reasons or whatever. I think that stuff is fine.
There's only one game that has done the Sol system well.
Yeah.
One. And it's not the Sol system. It's just kind of Earth. And that's Microsoft Flight Sim. They're the only one that has done it well enough that it's
based.
You're actually
Google
kind
Street
of there. Yeah. You're kind of there, and it's the scale that it needs to be. You can't do the scale of Earth because we know the scale of Earth.
I was gonna say, like, any place that you don't have like free roam, right? Any place, any game where it's like you can go to the Sol system, but you're in a level or whatever. That stuff's fine. Games like the first or maybe the second Mass Effect, you could go to the Sol system, but you couldn't land anywhere.
Yeah.
Except for I think you land on Mars at some point, but once again, it's just like a level. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, in ED, in Elite Dangerous, it's like blocked off as like you're not allowed to go in there. Eve, it doesn't even exist anymore. You can't get back to the galaxy, right? So
yeah, New Eden's like a totally different thing, right?
It's a different galaxy.
Yeah.
So I like those sort of ways because it means you just do not get disappointed. Because you will be disappointed if you're allowed to free roam on Earth, but it's actually 1/6 the size, and there's no. Oh, why can't I go see the Eiffel Tower? It's like because it would be so shit and be so hard to program that stuff. So
yeah, like
I'm hoping they don't do it, but they need the lore for it.
Even like truck sim games have done like okay with it, where it's like, yeah, I'm not traveling the exact distance, but I feel like I'm traveling. It's just a game like Star Citizen where we're. Like people are mentioning Starfield. Starfield is not the kind of game that we're talking about. Like Starfield, you cutscene down.
Well, once again, it's realistically it's a level.
Yeah. So you could be like, this is Earth in the future, but you're not. The problems that come with trying to simulate Earth is what we're talking about, and Starfield's not trying to simulate Earth. So yeah, you could simulate everything else.
Yeah.
And
because we believe it, we'd be like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah,
I believe that's there.
Yeah, but Earth we cannot do.
No.
So yeah, it'll be interesting how they do that. But the Earth in Starfield is just like a desert, right? Because
it got like super over polluted due to spoiler reasons.
Oh yeah, please don't. I still haven't finished it yet. I didn't even know. But yeah, so. Galactapedia is news apparently, but outside
it honestly probably should be news a little bit more often. But usually there's just a lot.
I always make it a part of Week in Review. I always make it a big part of it. It's usually one of the last things I talk about, but I try to tie it into why are they focusing on this lore? Why is this something that they're paying attention to? Why is this a
priority for them right now?
Yeah. And you're probably right on the Squadron 42 front, especially knowing what I didn't know about the Twitter posts apparently. Like, because they weren't advertising it anywhere else. It was only on Twitter, and I had no idea that was going on.
Yeah, just like a couple of tweets from people. I imagine when we get
Still
the schedule
meaningful.
this week, it's going to be. Once again, we've been saying all year that it's mostly going to be Squadron, and it still very much feels the case.
Yeah. All right, you want to do our best to chat about what we know about Evo? I can obviously bring up the patch notes,
yeah,
and chat about those. But again, we did not play it, so if you guys would like to kind of help us out and let us know what your experiences were, that would help us out greatly, because I did play the original test, the first one, but I was not able to play any other ones, or the other one, because there was only two.
Yep.
But I will say, character creator, very cool. I spent more time on that than I was expecting to. All of the things that they showed in the ISC are in. So the new beards, the new hairstyles, 21 new heads.
They have a beard that's exactly my beard, and I'm so excited for it.
Well, and they have stubble. Where like this is a very long beard for me. Now I can have stubble, which is cool. Lots of hairstyles, and it's looking good. New caves, where I find this to be incredibly ironic. They copy and pasted basically the descriptions of each cave, while simultaneously copy and pasting the dog shit content that they have in the game into the caves without making caves interesting at all, like they have been for a long time. Caves are something that I just don't understand why they're still a priority in this game. I don't get it. It's got to be future stuff, but they keep doing it now.
It's because right now it's the only exploration gameplay that exists.
But it's not what is exploration? What do you mean?
You're trying to go into caves to find cool things. There's just not cool things in them yet.
So why the fuck are you trying to go into caves to find cool things?
I want to kill Copians. No, I do agree with you. I'm just saying, like, that's the only reason that I can see why they would be doing them, is because they're going to be using locations like this a lot.
Eventually.
So, yeah.
Right? I think that's what it is. And it's just like, well, you can do other locations, maybe? Did
you have a chance to go into either of the caves when you played the first time?
Okay, so I'll give my experience on the first test.
Yeah.
So the answer is definitely no. The first test, I spent 2 hours trying to get to turn on a ship. And then 10 p.m. came, I was going to bed.
Yep.
What I didn't think to do, which was so stupid, but I didn't think to do it because I got hyper fixated on the fact that they said Arena Commander was turned off, that I didn't think that you still could use Arena Commander to go in offline mode and fly ships around. So I had AC's turned off. AC's turned off. Don't even try to go in it. And I kept trying to bang my head against the wall in these incredibly 30K crashy Evo servers. So the first test was really, really crashy. So I didn't even get to see an MFD. Sad. And then I still haven't played this last test, so I did not get to see a cave yet. And in the end, they've shown us the caves in monthly reports and sneak peeks, and we know what they look like. So what is there to explore? Unless they're adding new creatures that are only in those caves, there's your captivating setting for exploration, is to see new creatures and then gather things from those creatures that eventually you'll use at some point, which is not now. So I don't know. It's just, I feel like these should not be a priority. I don't know why they are. I would love the explanation of why they're prioritizing these, because sure, it being a captivating setting for exploration makes sense, but and then Zach, who works on AI, just posted eyes in chat, so he's probably right, or I'm probably right on that one, that they're doing that with it.
I was going to say the one thing that I was really hoping from these would be like different and new hazards, like an acidic cave, right? So right now the sand caves, you've got the
you fall into the
pits of spikes. Yeah. I would love to see them do more stuff with the acidic caves and the rock caves that, you know, provide some sort of other like thing that you have to worry about. But if you're just going in there to fight Copians or just to do missing person missions, it's not as fun.
Yeah. I'm just the argument of this will make exploration good or whatever is, do we think they're doing anything in regards to exploration anytime soon? Like, I just feel like this stuff can wait. But I think now that we bring up the creature standpoint. Maybe that's the reason for it. So, thoughts on this? This one is so bittersweet. Updated all hauling missions to have 0 reputation change on abandoned. So when you fail, you don't get screwed over. It's a huge bug in the game right now. You fail at a high level, you're done. No more cargo missions. So good.
Yeah. It's a necessary fix for the issues that the game has.
But it's bittersweet because they didn't fix the issues that the game has.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're kind of hoping that this would come in and they wouldn't have to do stuff like this. And it was again, can CIG salvage this year or so? One of the things I was hyper fixated on from last year's Citizencon was reputation. And this was the best example we had of it all year. And it doesn't work properly. So kind of disappointing on that standpoint, right? And then we got the HUD rework, which
it's the primary reason for the patch, the HUD rework. I feel like this is the big feature of the .2. I think.
You know what the big feature of the .2 is? A ship sail. Come on, the Zeus.
Yeah, but you don't need a dot patch for a ship sail. Like
yes,
that's what I'm saying. They've done it before. They've done it tons of times. We don't need a dot patch for a ship sail.
They do.
That's what I'm saying.
They do, and they do because otherwise it would be data mined months before that patch comes out. So I think
but they've done it before where it hasn't been a dot like a dot one. It has been a dot one A, B, C, D or whatever.
Well, it's still
the naming convention of if they need a patch, they don't need the naming convention of a .2 implies more content, and they usually don't do that just for ships.
Yeah.
MFDs
and the MFDs is that content, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's not just MFDs. We'll get to some of the bigger stuff too. I was just pausing to basically bring up the last week's ISC, the engineering thing, and just be like, pretty much everything you see here outside of the engineering gameplay, but any MFD stuff,
which is weirdly not much of this ISC. I think it was mostly the weeks before ISC where they actually talked about the MFDs.
I might have brought up the wrong episode, but this stuff is kind of in, not on the engineering panel, but for the pilot. So I guess I brought up the wrong ISC, but the MFD stuff is going to be a thing, and it looks good. I just played it before because people said scanning was greatly improved, and I was like, well, what? Okay, in what way? Because we knew that scanning was being worked on if you read the monthly reports, and I'm like, how improved is it? Is there whole brand new scanning gameplay? So I went into Arena Commander and I spawned a ship in, and then I landed it, spawned another backspace, spawned another ship, and I pressed V. And yes, my MFD changed to scanning MFD, but it wasn't the one on my screen, so I had to move it, which is unfortunate. And then I hit left click after locking onto a ship, and it immediately brought up. I was in an F8C or whatever, or I was scanning an F8C. All of the data that ship had, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But it has no cargo. So there's there's other tabs, and I think we've seen this in the ISC, and I'll grab that, hopefully. Yeah, here we go. There were other tabs for scanning. Let me see if we see those. Perhaps, I just saw. Okay, so this is what you get stuck on if a ship has no cargo and you go to this screen. It'll get stuck on ready to scan, but there'll be a couple tabs where it's components, cargo, and something else, so you can kind of press.
So it's actually properly listed.
It almost looked. It basically had the ship hollow, and then below it had all of the components of the ship.
Cool.
So mostly visual, but not mostly visual. People are saying there's too much scrolling, there's a lot of button clicking, classic CIG stuff. The UI looks good, the functionality is just not. And I want to bring up, this is a different thing. Everything after that, I think, is what is, I will sort of disagree with you, but obviously I think the MFDs are a big deal. Very, very important quality of life update. But I think this stuff is actually a much bigger deal. We've had a lot of problems with MFDs, or with master modes, and they're doing something. They're doing the opposite of what every, at least PvP content creator / person making a Spectrum post wanted. So I'm a little confused by this. Everybody wanted the speeds to go up. It's
genuinely the truth of every time you make a Spectrum post, we're going to delay this feature by 3 months, whatever. This is that.
Yeah, I'm lost by this one. Just personally, I don't understand it. I know what the community seems to want, and CIG went, yeah, we'll do the opposite. So like, everyone was like, yeah, it's too slow, it's boring, I can't do positional combat. So they were like, hey, why don't you make like the boost speeds a little bit better and like make maneuverability easier? And then they were like, yo, max boost speeds have been lowered for all ships. And we're like, wait, what? I'm so confused. Now, another thing that I am aware of is that speeds are just broken in this patch. So you could be flying in space and you can't go faster than 300 meters per second. That's a bug, right?
Yeah.
The thing that I am most interested in, that anyway. Exactly, right? The thing that I'm most interested in here is all updated attributes for ship components. So if anybody is in the call, that's calling in today, and knows any details on this, that's what I want to hear about first.
Yeah, I'd
please.
Love to hear about that.
That's the biggest change that comes to the entire game, gameplay-wise, is right there. I want to hear more about that. I want to hear their intentions for that. I didn't think we were going to hear their intentions until CitizenCon. So the fact that it's in this for what is likely to be a CitizenCon patch is very interesting. So they might talk about it. Yeah, and then Torsten is here and goes, I do. Yeah, thanks. Thanks. Why didn't you write a detailed update so we could know what's in there?
Yeah, can't you give us a 30-page update of every single component?
Don't worry, they'll data mine it and we'll know in a day or two. But recharge rate for weapons have been balanced. We kind of noticed that in ISCs, as well as shield generators and engines have similar experiences. Multi-tool update. Yeah, they just changed the MFD kind of on the multi-tool as well.
Yeah. Is it also possible that they're doing some of these updates to, like once again, they've been aggressively, they talked about wanting to aggressively change stuff to make master modes work, right? Is it also possible that this could just be like pre-updating for engineering?
I have no idea. No idea. Again,
I guess is what the changes are.
Yeah, it's so far off base from what I expected they would have done. I'm not sure what their goals or intentions are here. I fully expect once this goes wave 1 for Yogi to kind of come in and be like, these were our intentions for making these changes. The community will lose their mind because they think they know better. And they might know better in some cases and they may not in others. It's hard to say. I'm certainly not going to be the one to say who knows better because I don't know at all. But, you know, this has been a really crazy time for the community, and I've not seen them go this insane about anything. So, yeah, attention needs to be paid to this no matter what. And, yeah, I mean, that's all I really have. I think I'm ready to go to calls, and we can kind of maybe preface the salvaging of...
We've actually, like, talk a little bit more about the actual topic, right? Like, what do we think they could do over the course of...
I'll let you go.
At this stage, the last 3 months, right?
I've been yapping, so you go first.
Yeah, shut up, Mike. Jesus.
I try. Don't worry, the comments will tell me that. You don't have to.
So, yeah, like, I think there is no one in... Well, I'm sure there are people, but there's barely anyone, I think, in the community right now that's, like, particularly happy at the moment. A lot of people who maybe are like happy-ish are more just, I'm happy waiting, but I'm not going to play the game for a little bit, right?
Or I'm happy playing the game for what it is, you know, those kind of people.
Yeah. Which is fine stuff.
Yeah.
This year was weird. That's how I sort of think of it. We had the insane sitcon that was last year, and the same like the like small patches at the end of last year were awesome. The Pyro playtest. We had a great 5 to 6 months I want to say it was pretty much when 3.23 got released, which was about 5 months. I want to say it was like May. I don't quite remember.
Yeah, beginning of May, I think.
Yeah. And it was insane. It was awesome. It was like, holy crap, they're doing it. They're doing everything they said that they were going to be able to do. We can like envision tests for all this sort of stuff happening. And then the cargo stuff happened and just feels like it pushed everything to the side. And then to add on top of it, there were lots of like not good publicity with, well, I was going to say the ship sales and stuff that happened towards the middle of the year.
You talking F7?
Yeah. So the F7, the what was the other one?
The missile one? The Saber Raven or whatever?
No, I don't think people cared as much about that. My brain's just
well,
but the golden ticket
OP.
was like the big one.
Yeah.
So like there was a lot of problems, and it was just kind of Xeno Threat came out. It sounded like it was going to be great, but it just didn't work because it was too buggy. Right now, we're experiencing the exact same thing with another dynamic event. It like sounds like it can be pretty cool, super buggy. So it feels like it just everything fell off.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can fix that within 3 months, right?
A lot of for like the copium huffers in the community were like, the year's not over yet. You cannot deliver the things they want to deliver. So the reason I think you consider it weird is exactly what you said at the beginning of what you were talking about. Like, dude, they're like towards the end of the year, we're dropping Pyro. Like they're doing it. And even though like you even said it, 3.23 dropped in May. It was late.
Yeah.
It was late, but it was kind of like, all right, once they get 3.23 out of the way, then it's like on to those things that they were talking about at Citizencon. It's on to more things that they were talking about.
But even
then,
like 3.23 was also chunky. It was like it was the thickest patch we've had in a very, very long time, right?
Yeah.
And so it was a big sort of reinvigorating. I actually think it ended up launching in April, because I remember there being some drama about morphologists saying something about April and everyone losing their minds.
If it launched in April, it was like very much at the end of April, though. Like I think this was the latest patch for that kind of time, probably outside of like a 3.0 launch.
Yeah, but it definitely like reinvigorated a lot of the community and stuff. And then, like I said, everything just went downhill. It was like the patch ended up not being the savior that we needed, you know?
Yeah, and to their credit, they did a really good job of maintaining the hype from Citizencon with really good video content, events, things like that, or like making some changes and interacting with the community, communicating. They did a pretty good job of that towards the beginning of the year. So they were keeping that faith alive that, all of the big thing that happened at Citizencon was Squadron 42 feature complete. All right, this big bottleneck is out of the way. Things are going to be happening faster, but not just the typical patch that we would get, but a patch with like actual content. They're talking about connecting things. They're talking about economy. They're talking about reputation. They're talking about all these things that we thought that they were going to start putting the Lego pieces together instead of just, here, look at this Lego piece. Oh, here, look at this other Lego piece. Looks cool, right? They were actually going to start, layering them together.
Yeah.
So they like you had said, they really set the expectations that this was going to happen. And then eventually we started to figure out that it wasn't. The copium huffers in the community were like, but the year isn't over yet. They could still do it. And, anybody who has half of a brain cell was looking around and going, I don't think that's going to happen. And it's not. So that, can they salvage this year? I think yourself said it pretty well. I don't think anybody's very happy with how this year is going, including CIG. I don't think they would give themselves a passing grade if we were to get them in a call right now, like Richard Tyler or Chris or whoever, right?
I fully think, similar to how we reacted about the first 6 months of the year, CIG came into it, they were optimistic because things were working, but then that future stuff that needed that extra work wasn't working. The server meshing was not working. Cargo, the big one, right, was not working. It was too buggy for the game at the moment. I will say I am happy that server meshing testing, like we just talked about at the start of stream, is going well, and they are going hard on that now. It's just we wanted to see that 6 months ago. Right?
But
so
better late than never. And
yeah,
that is, can CIG salvage this year? That is one of the things that if they can get 4.0 in by the end of the year, which is theoretically possible if they continue on this path quite quickly, which is possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Don't put words in my mouth, okay? Because just like anything, just like the cargo thing, they can hit a wall that they can't get through.
Yeah.
That's something that can happen. And but that's one thing that if they delivered 4.0, could it salvage this year? I think it could for some. 4.0 was never the thing that I was looking forward to. Tech, very important. The Pyro system.
Yep.
For what they've shown so far, not doing it for me. I don't know how you feel, but I really need to, from what they've shown so far, not doing it to me. But if there's a reason to go to Pyro and to come back to Stanton, and there's fighting over the travel between the two, and we got a little bit more sandboxy elements going on, even though we still don't look like we're going to have a reason to move cargo from one place to another, that could help for sure. You know?
Yeah, I think it's not a case on whether this year can be salvaged. It's whether or not we can just have like a happy point at the end of the year at this stage, whether we can just be on like an up. And the way that I see that is, a 4.0 release that obviously it has to have server meshing. It has to have Pyro, obviously.
Yep.
And it has to have new content, whether that's just missions. Honestly, if that's just missions, that'll be a really big deal. It really will. Obviously, it'll have engineering too.
Just to play a devil's advocate here a little bit, does it need to have Pyro?
For it to be the up point I just described, yes.
Probably,
I guess 4.0 itself doesn't need to technically have Pyro, but people would riot because CIG changed their minds on a lot of things over the years. The one thing that they've said 10 years ago and recently is 4.0 is the Pyro patch.
Yeah,
you know,
2016 was like 4.0 is the next star
but
system.
They still say it, right? They've still been saying it all these years. So it's one thing that hasn't changed from their mind. So
yeah, I'd be happy if it was like, hey guys, we really want to nail down this server meshing tech. We would rather do it in one system before moving to another. We'll call it 325, and then 4.0 will be Pyro, and I'd be fine with that.
My big thing is like I imagine. So when it comes to new patches, and every time we have bugs, a lot of them are to do with new mechanics most of the time, or old mechanics being brought up and bugs returning, that sort of thing.
Yep.
It's never really usually new locations. So I imagine Pyro itself, as long as it's like complete, which it sounds like it has been for a little bit, or they've just been doing like a lot of finishing touches on
outside of optimization, of course,
effects and stuff. Yeah.
Like you remember when they brought the Pyro-like outposts or settlements to Stanton, and they were just like mega frame eating. Like that would be the only problem with them, really.
Yeah, and so the only sort of thing that I can see, other than server meshing being the big blocker, is major issues with jumping. That's going to be the big thing. So it's going to depend on how those two go. Obviously, we are in 324.2 Evocati right now. In terms of, well, apparently it's unstable as hell, but in terms of like patch releases, this shouldn't be in Evo for any more than a few weeks. Citizencon is 3 weeks away.
Yeah.
So
somebody in chat saying IAE will be 324.2.
I don't think it will.
No, it's Citizencon, brother. One. Yeah. That's going to be .3.
Yeah. Which, for reference as well, just for that specific thing, they've done a lot before where they'll literally throw the like IAE patch in PTU the week before it comes out, because there's usually no changes except for bring back the convention center and here are some new ships. That's it, right?
Yep. And Invictus had the ship that is going to highlight the convention center, which would be the Polaris anyway. So it's like not even new, really.
Yeah. But yeah, so the way that I sort of see it is, I don't think Citizencon will salvage the year. I think it will do other things. Like we were talking once again, it's probably going to be mostly squadron focused. So it's going to do other things for the IP as a whole. but it's really going to come down to if they can get 4.0 with at least those 3 things: server meshing, Pyro, and some new missions out before December. Because if you leave it too late, everyone's on holiday.
If they released Squadron 42, I mean, it's not happening, but if they released Squadron 42, that would do it. But if they give a release date
That'd
for
be
Squadron
such a way
42,
to lose money.
This is such a, like, the timing of all this is so weird, too. It's like, we're going to do a whole convention. We're going to it sounds like we're going to pay Mark Hamill to come out and look, Luke Skywalker, woo. And then we're going to say that it's coming out a year from now and then eventually, like, delay it again. Like,
that'd be so bad if they.
That's what's gonna happen. It's literally what's gonna happen.
And to be fair, fucking swearing on my own podcast. GTA is getting delayed. What was the other one? There's another big game and I'm not saying Squadron 42 is GTA. I'm just saying, like, big games get delayed, right?
Yeah.
There was another game that was supposed to come out next year that's getting delayed to 2026 as well. AC Shadows, yep. Although, meh, Ubisoft. They delay everything. But the point is, like, that will probably happen, and that'll be so bad.
Yeah. It's just, like, it's so hard going into Citizencon and being like, what would excite me? They've already teased base building. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, that's right. They said, like, expect to see more about this later this year.
Yeah,
well, I wonder what's happening later this year.
And it looked very basic, right? But it still is an exciting feature that I think a lot of people are excited for.
And for something that only went into concept early this year, I think it'll be, well, we'll see, but I think it'll be fine.
But how, as a member of this game, like, how can you feel the level of hype and excitement that you felt last year after knowing what happened this year? Because the big thing that they did last year was they didn't show you shitty dev builds that were crashing constantly in this demo that they usually do. What they did differently is they had everybody go up on stage and show you this incredibly polished feature that looked done and ready. Man, those vehicles were coming up the freight elevator. Like they could spawn there, actually, like it worked. And then it was all fake. It was all just to show what could be possible. And or only works in a single player environment and all these things. And you're kind of like, all right, no matter what you show me this year, how can I believe it? And I can't.
I will say one of the things I want to do for our sitcom prediction episode, I'm going to probably, I don't know if I'll watch through all of sitcom again because it's really long, but I'm
doing it. I'm reacting to all of them again.
Yeah, I might get a list of all of the features that they mention, do a proper comparison about, like, but most of it will be like what released in 3.23 and what didn't release, right? And just sort of see how it goes, because I also think there's a lot of, like, nothing released, but so much of sitcom was just 3.23 stuff.
Yeah, but so much of it was not.
Yeah, like
the
biggest
was
ones are server meshing.
Was half-assed in 3.23.
They, like, yes, but I will say there's so UI, although it ended up just not being great for some other perspectives.
Half-assed. A lot of the things that we saw at the UI didn't come in, right? You're not pressing buttons on the screen. A lot of the UI things are half the functionality that they showed at Citizencon. So if you were to say the star map made it in and said that it made it in, it didn't 100% make it in. A lot of those features are non-functional, like the most important ones. So continue. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I think it was important in being like, not quite exactly in 3.23 how we wanted to see them, right? So,
but yeah,
continue.
Regardless,
I
think it'd be good to. No, it's all good. I was gonna say, just regardless, I think it'd be really good to just, like, straight up compare, and sort of see how it went from that perspective. But to sort of close it out before calls, I guess, is like, I don't think they can salvage it. Just, can we get into a good spot? And the other thing is marketing's just had a really bad year.
They've had a good year because they've had a lot of work and they've
I mean,
made a lot of money, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, actually, they've made. I'll have to double check. I think they've still made less than last year.
No,
so
they're above.
Might not be.
They're above.
Ah, damn.
Yep, and they're on track for going above. But if you look, last year
the publicity's been bad.
Last year they did a total of 25 to 20-ish, 20, 24-ish, 25 sales for the whole year. Mm-hmm. We're already at 28 or 29.
And money?
And money is a little bit above.
Okay, cool.
So they're doing a lot more work to make about the same amount of money.
Yeah.
So
and like my main point towards it anyway was the publicity for marketing this year has been really bad.
Horrible. Yeah. Right. They look so stupid, and they will continue to look stupid because they're desperate for whatever reason. We don't know their financial situation over there, and I don't think there's any point in speculating on it, but a lot of sales happening this year, so they might need it. But the last thing that I want to say before we move to calls is this will not salvage the year for me, but the only thing that I can watch Citizencon or anything post Citizencon for the rest of the year is not necessarily things making it into the game, because I don't expect too much to make it in, but what I like to see from them is, and this is what it really excited me last year at Citizencon, is mentality changes or willingness to make change, I guess. And that was the theme from last year. It seemed like they understood that it's time to make the game now, and that should be their focus, and that was their focus this year.
All the features they were talking about last year were
exactly that was their focus. That's why I was so excited and so happy and just so hype in comparison to any other year. It was like, wow, it's like they're finally listening to my concerns about the game. And then they proceeded to struggle to get those things in. But there's no denying that it was a priority for them to try to do so. They just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to shit on them completely. They failed. But they didn't fail to try. And that's more than they've done any other year. So I still will be excited by game design talk. Right? Incredibly disappointed by the armors discussion from last year versus what we got. We got art. We got no
the FPS armor.
Yep.
Yeah.
No design in relation to that whatsoever. Very, very upsetting, because I was hyper fixated on that. Hyper fixated on reputation. Hyper fixated on that one little text at the bottom of the reputation rewards. These will not be sold for money. These will only be earned in game. None of that shit happened. So that bothered me. They could still do that this year. It will not salvage the year for me, but it will definitely do what you wanted, and that's end the year on a high, build some momentum into the following year, and you can salvage all the mistakes you made this year by continuously working towards the goodwill that you created last year of the focus is on the game. They can salvage it long term. I don't think they could salvage it short term. There's not enough time left. But if they continue to make those changes and continue to focus on what's important, which is the game and the people who play it, it can be salvaged. So, all right.
Cool.
With that said,
we'll just one sentence before we go probably to our question.
Please take more than one, and I'll get like the callers set up and all that jazz. So.
Which I just want to say, like, one thing as well that, once again, this isn't going to salvage this year, but it's made this year maybe not as brutal, is the amount of communication like individual devs have been having with community members in this year has been awesome. And it makes it, anytime we see a decision that seems weird or we're not into or whatever, them being to actively talk about it pretty quickly, like we mentioned at the start with Benoit talking about server meshing, has been such a welcome change. So
I've had more devs in my chat than any other year ever, and just more willingness to just speak openly about what they're working on and the struggles that they have, and hey, that's not a priority right now, this is, and it's been really great. I launched merch recently, and I said to myself, every developer that comes in and cares as much about the game as we do, to put up with my community's BS, to continue to share information with them. If they care enough about the game to be passionate enough about that, I said, you choose anything, and on the store you get it for free. Just as it's the only way I can say thank you. And yeah, I almost went broke there. That was it was expensive because there was a lot more of them than I thought there was initially. Once you really started counting, it was like, wow, there's a lot of people that stop by and really, really care. And I don't know how else to say thank you other than saying thank you. But then, if I could do something nice, a nice gesture, I'd do it. So.
And the worst thing, Mike, your bribes aren't even working. We still don't have 4.0.
No. But it's just, there's some people that care, and there might only be 10 to 15 out of the 1,000 developers that are as passionate as we are about the game, but they're there, so we need to cherish them.
Please don't leave. Please don't leave. Stay with the company.
They're our only hope. It's not even that. It's just please don't lose hope.
Yeah.
And because we haven't yet.
Yeah. All right, let's do a question from the Discord. Guys, if you have any good questions that you want us to bring up during the podcast, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the topics we're talking about, because if it's interesting enough, we'll choose it. You can do that. You can go into the Discord, which is available in Twitch by going ! Podcast, or here on YouTube, it'll be in the description, or if you're watching live, it is pinned to the top of the chat. And we have one from you, Comic. With Blockade Runner being as lackluster in terms of financial rewards, low credit payouts versus time invested, what rewards do you think would be a better as an incentive for dynamic events to encourage player engagement? I have a good answer, but also a thing that I don't want them to do yet because it's too buggy, which is like rep rewards, right? They did it like once with a Xenothreat event, and it was like a cool idea. You get this fancy armor. I think at the time it was just like a reskin of an armor, though, to be fair. I want something a bit more than that, right? Like an actual new model or something that does something a bit different. But Blockade Runner was so buggy that if they had done that, I would be mad because no one can get it because you can't complete the event.
I mean, some people have completed it, but it's not easy.
I completed
or fun.
it, but most... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's got too many problems at the moment.
I just had a crazy thought. So I'm going to go pretty crazy and stupid on this one. What does Zayla Prolinide do? Even I was kind of looking it up.
I saw you doing this before the pod.
Yeah, and I was like, what? This is so annoying that they do this. Is like, they don't tie you into the game world with this stuff. But I would love to see the station shut down completely until the event's over. And it being shut down has actual negative effects on the player experience, so you want to have it turned on. Like, hey,
like you can't go to the shops or something, or
you can't go to the shops, you can't get refueling. My refinery jobs are paused, like all these things, and then hey, I want to work to get this back on. Is that a good reward to not be punished? I don't think so. So on top of that, I also think
it's a good incentive as long as it's a good incentive as long as those things are also making you money and stuff, right?
Yeah, like the fact that it's turned off will create demand for other things, right? And then I don't know, that whole Tony Z dynamic economy stuff starts to play a factor in. So I feel like the rewards should be that you're participating in the sandbox. And you're not. You're participating in this mission.
Yeah.
That
which
they
is
flip a switch
fine.
and turn it on.
Yeah.
It
missions are cool.
Good.
Missions are fun, but this is, people have already said this is the worst dynamic event. And it kind of is, because it doesn't feel like a dynamic event.
Feels like a mission.
Yeah.
But it feels like Xenothreat. I don't know. It's just like, ugh. They don't understand yet, I feel like, what's really important to the players.
Yeah.
And it's not doing missions over and over again.
But at least at the moment, they should have just given us more money.
Yeah, probably.
If even when it is buggy, as long as there is more money, people will do it. They'll test it out more, and then you get to find out what you do need to do to the event. Whereas right now, nowhere near enough people are playing it, I imagine. So the next version of Blockade Runner is probably still not going to be quite there, right?
Yeah. I don't know. It's just That's how I feel right now. I am very much in the. I know Citizencon is coming. I'm not investing any energy or time into Star Citizen right now. Like there was just way more important things going on in my life to play than to play Evo, for example. So I am properly recharging my batteries before I will be absolutely drained after like the Citizencon live streams, post streams,
of course.
all that stuff. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at right now. But all right, you want to go to calls?
Yeah, let's go to some callers. So also reference for callers, obviously any of the topics we talked about, but we would also especially love to hear if you were in Evocati,
what your experiences were.
Yeah, what is it? What's going on? So yeah, let's get our first in. SpaceMonkeyBusiness, our third podcast member. How you doing?
Yeah. Oh my god, me again. Hey. How you guys? First of all, happy birthday to Croncy, because we're the downhill club now. So.
Yep. Only downhill from here.
Yep.
Regarding the salvage topic, I wouldn't even use the word salvage. I would use satisfied. And to say I'm satisfied for this year, I would say 3 things. 4.0 would be in PTU. I think this is the only expectation I had for 4.0 this year.
Sure.
And there will
4.0, right? Pyro, all that
yeah.
jazz. Yep.
Yeah, PTU. Because you could expect that for Citizencon, but I said with those delays and with the realization of the past, that would be a stretch to achieve that.
It's physically impossible, I think, at this stage to get it out by Citizencon. It's 3 weeks away. So
another point would be the Squadron 42. Maybe let's say release window, not a release date. I think
that's what I expect they'll do. Yeah,
would be too much. A release
holiday
window,
next year, something like that, right?
Well, that's something like this. And for the gameplay stuff, I think the most important thing for me would be to see the crafting, because this is, I think, the most important feature for gameplay.
That's that thing that I'm talking about of like game design talk and direction of the game. That if the crafting is looking good, I will be injected with copium, hopium, any other eum that I can possibly be injected with, and I will be like angel wings will pop out of my back, and I'll just start floating.
Clip that.
Yeah, that'll probably happen, but then I'll instead of last year, I'll probably quickly come down and be like, yeah, they'll fuck it up somehow. So
did we fall into the Chris Roberts communication trap again by listening to him and say, oh, those things will be coming the next 12 months or so?
No, because it wasn't just what he said.
Right?
It wasn't. No, he said it, but it wasn't just that he said it. It was how polished what they showed was. It was like, oh, this is all Squadron. Yeah, that's what was different about last year. There was so much proof. It was very easy to be like, oh, this demo isn't real. It's just a demo. Like if I go back to 2018 Citizencon with the Carrick, remember that? And you had these NPCs that were like evading them by doing barrel rolls that were clearly just these like button press animations that were super weird. Like there was so much faked, and it was very obviously faked. And none of this looked faked. It looked like it was part of a real game, Squadron 42. So you were like, easy. And it just wasn't, you know?
There's one thing. I mean, I'm not in the Evocati stuff, so I cannot talk about this. But I would talk about the experience for the 3.24 patch for me so far, because it aligns a bit with the salvage stuff. Because for me, normally patches for me were like, okay, I go in, look at all the stuff, the assets they dropped in, and then it's basically over. And this was the first time in a long amount of patches where I spent more time with the patch, because I was motivated to do the Pyro stuff and work my way up, because there was reputation in it. And I wanted, because since there are so many missions, and since there are more opportunities to do these missions because they have like different attributes, and like this is a route, this is what you can transport. So I was motivated to figure that out and to work my way up and to see what the next level is and the next level is. So that was a good motivation for me. And what also happened with that patch is what you were criticizing in the past is all the players are scattered around. We don't see players, and those missions, or at least I had the feeling, led to meeting more players, because you see players from the LEO stations fly to them, fly away from them to possibly do the cargo missions, and you even see them on the ground, on the distribution centers. So you basically meet players more with those missions. So there is more interaction. It feels more alive, and
ever so slightly, but it does.
Yeah, a bit. So it is a glimpse of what can be, what could happen if they go on in this direction.
Yeah, and if you tie that together with the server meshing stuff, there'll be more people running cargo and more likely to see more people.
I was going to say one thing we didn't mention in our what can salvage, like we didn't mention the player counts, but that could be such a crazy change in how good the game feels if we even pre 4.0 just get 300 people in the game, 400 people in the game.
Yeah,
could change everything. So
yeah. And there's even a little interesting side effect of Blockade Runner. I did it once. I completed it in 4 hours because I had the spawning bug.
Yeah. Honestly, it takes 4 hours anyway. It's really slow.
Well, probably. But if you go up in the ranks and you go to you reach those bigger hauling missions where you need a hull C4, then you need to think, okay, which station is blocked now? Because if I have a mission to deliver goods, cargo to that station that is blocked now, I cannot complete it because I will be cut down by the NPCs because they blocked the station. So that's a nice side effect.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump in, though, and say it's been 5 minutes, and we have lots of callers, and it went so well last week. I would like to keep that cadence if we can. I should have put that as a preface that.
Okay.
So I'll give you some more time, just you, but because we didn't preface it for you. But yeah, if you have anything else, like did you play Evo or anything else that would salvage the year?
At the beginning. No.
Oh, okay, I missed that part.
To say, I mean, they have a lot of stuff to improve, but if you sum it together, I would say also, like we said in the beginning, is that a next iteration of this situation? Is this a T0 implementation, and will it just be left alone and nobody will take care, and we won't see any improvements for a while? Or will they just pick it up and evolve it, and somebody is working on that in every patch to get it better and better over time? Because this is also, I have the feeling for I've this feeling for a long time that they maybe lack resources to do gameplay implementations. Maybe more gameplay designers, maybe more.
They don't lack the resources; they choose to lack the resources.
Yeah, but I was also going to say
hire them.
They did until Squadron was content complete, because that's what those people do, and so now they should be working on exactly those things, right? And if you have, what is it? It's now over 1,200 employees, right? Which obviously they're not all game devs. Obviously they're not all doing that design, whatever. But if you have that many people, you can allocate the resources that way, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they didn't. And then all these teams say that they're small. Jared, oh, you're small team. You're small team. You're, this small team. Yogi, small team. This team, small. Where are the teams and what are they doing? It seems like they're still very squadron focused. And again, another thing from Citizencon that may or may not have been true, but we don't know. But it feels that way.
But even with that in mind, I mean, the stuff we've seen from Squadron 42 mainly look like this will be more cinematic, more rails.
If it's anything like Wing Commander, it's mostly cinematic.
It's not a sandbox. I mean, even
it
will be,
even
but
close.
it's not looking like a Witcher 3 experience in space. So there won't be more gameplay. Will be more narrative, more cinematics. at least.
I will say I do think that's a bad example because they have talked a lot about, you know, you're going to be choosing your missions and you will be traveling to locations to like do certain missions. So I don't think that that's a great example of that. But even Witcher is also still very on rails. It's not very sandboxy. It's literally just choose your mission and when to do it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, with the narrative of you being in the military, we have stuff to do. I sent you to a mission. It is more on rails than Witcher 3, I guess. But
you will
let's
make
see what they show.
choices, but I don't know how much choice you will have. But all right, Space, we'll call you there.
Awesome.
All right.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Cheers for the call. We appreciate it as always.
Have a good
one, mate.
Yeah.
Later, dude. I couldn't hear what he said at the end. All right, our next caller is Frosty, but
hello.
Oh, Croncy froze for a second. I got scared, but you're good. You're good, Croncy.
How you doing, Frosty?
Hello.
Can hear you. Can you hear us?
Hold on, so I can't hear.
Oh no.
Oh, there we go.
All right. Hello.
Hello.
Alrighty. What would you like to talk about?
Well, the topic really is the can CIG Salvage this year. Absolutely not. There's no way. It would take a miracle.
Classic SaltEMike mod.
It would take a miracle for them to salvage this year. And yeah, I just don't see them doing it. There's just no way.
What was the most disappointing, I guess? What made it so bad that it's unsalvageable?
I say what killed it was, for me anyway, was 324. It was just, I think just that was just not needed. Obviously you have because obviously the main features was the persistent hangers and the freight elevators, but for me, I don't think it should have been done then. I think they should have just left it because obviously the main problem was ATC. It was clearly that was the main problem, but then they had to do the work to make ATC work for them now to rework it in the future. I just say there was no point in it, and obviously, you know, you could have just pushed that out and filled it with more content. You know, that even from last Citizencon, it would have been good enough for me. But yeah, it's just.
Okay, so what you're saying, so you're saying, just cut it, don't do it right now, and then like do other stuff. The problem then is all those devs that have been working on cargo and freight elevators for the last year and a half
get put on something
all of a sudden
else.
are now moving to something else, right? And then they're still going to have to come back to this, and it's probably going to take them maybe not a year and a half, but another full year to do that content. Like they obviously made the decision that it was worth pushing through. It was probably the right decision because we're complaining about it now. In the grand scheme, it was 2-3 months. So it's like, if they did what you're saying, I feel like it would have been much worse. Just not this year. It'd be much worse next year or the year after.
I think we should have listened to their words in post the mistake, the hindsight words of, I probably should have done the transit rework before releasing the patch, or we probably should have prioritized doing it in batches instead of trying to do it all at once. And they can't salvage this year, but they could salvage the mistakes that they made this year and do them better next time. And I'm sick and fucking tired of CIG not learning from their mistakes and continuously doing the same things. How many times did we tell them about these ship sales or these events and that they're just a waste of time? They're not good enough. They're like, we have a mission team that needs to do a mission rework, and they're spending all their time doing Blockade Runner, which nobody, I mean, people care about. Like, I hate using the word nobody, but I'm speaking for myself, which it just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. All of these things do not function within the larger scheme of the game when it grows into what it's supposed to be. Let's get focused on what matters. Let's stop band-aiding shit. Let's start actually doing it.
Yeah.
And they kept band-aiding for 324 over and over and over again, and no shit, the band-aid broke again. You know?
Yeah, another thing as well with 323, I think they was too cocky with it. Obviously, it was a massive patch and it was very needed, but it was just kind of like, it's something obviously that, you know, with the star map, etc. Even most of it didn't even get in anyway. So, but it was a needed thing. But especially with like 324 now is just, right now SE is kind of dead. Like the thing is, I'm more looking forward to a game that isn't released yet, which is Squadron 42, than I am with playing Star Citizen right now. It's just because I know
to play a game I thought I'd never play. I ended up playing Eve because it was so bad.
Exactly. So it's just not a good vibe right now until I don't know when 4.0 is in PT, then I will care. But right now it's just I'm playing other stuff. Yeah, and obviously with Squadron, the focus for Citizencon obviously through the goodies pack and what we saw on Twitter, it's I think the most we'll get is a release date, but even then it's CIG. I don't care until it works on my machine. I do not care.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally understandable, and I don't think they can get those things on our machine this year. But Orso, we still have the Orso in there, so you got a chance. we covered our bases. We said Orso.
Yeah.
Therefore,
you're
not allowed to be mad.
Would you say this year so far, up to this point, has been better or worse than last year? Because I think that's also an important. Well, like last year was a shit show, but it's like still an important metric I think to think about.
It depends on your perspective on it, I think.
I mean, I'd say a good footing was, 323. Obviously, it was a massive change, but then it's kind of like they ran and then hit a massive brick wall. Like it just stopped. Like,
I think it's such a silly question, although it's a valid one. It's like
the
bar is so fucking
about,
low.
But like,
the bar's so low. Yes, Croncy, it's better. I can log into the game.
Salvaged. Done. Let's go.
But I think he's.
So it's
this year they hyped it up this year, and obviously, especially like and a good thing as well was
and make this your last, Frosty, because we're over.
The change with the ISC as well, with how they did it with the weapon content going on as well. So that's it.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Cheers for the call.
Yeah, man.
See ya.
No hope.
Oh,
no hope for
No
Frosty.
hope.
All right. And our next one is VRPlaneswalker. Hello.
How you doing, VR?
Hey, what's up?
No, much. Just running a podcast.
Hey, give me 1 second. I'm sorry, got me outside. What are you held up to? How y'all doing?
We're just here podcasting.
Oh, hell yeah. All right. Well, I mean, now when you say salvage the game, what does that mean? What do you mean?
Oh, as in like
this year was not good. Can they do something to make you think that it was good?
Yes, but can they do it this year? Well, I got one for the Orso. So, you remember that game Battlefront 2? Not the newer one, the older one.
The original Battlefront? Yeah.
Yeah. You remember? So, you remember the ship-to-ship battle mode that they had?
Yeah, it was awesome.
When you're in you're in the capital. You had an option to get into a fighter or a turret or stay in the capital and defend it. And then get into the enemy's place and take down their ship. We kind of have that with Star Citizen. So, who's calling me a boomer? Hey! All right, anyway.
Don't read chat. Don't read chat.
All right,
That's a rule.
all right.
Do not read chat.
Okay.
Close it.
Chat.
You're on a podcast. You're talking to us, and we're talking to you.
Okay. All right,
only we
fine,
may
fine.
respond to chat.
Yep.
Boomer or not, that game is great, and we do have that in Star Citizen. It's just the server performance is awful. My plan to salvage this, I may not be popular because there was a chat earlier that did mention Theaters of War, and I don't think SaltEMike would agree with me, but I would say go gung-ho on AC. Get Bunton back in there. Get Yogi in there. Get 5 guys who work in Star Marine. I don't know who they are because I don't play it, but get them in there. Focus on that.
I think that would help. I think that would make both short and long-term improvements to the game, but I don't think it would salvage the problems that were created this year. But in the long, maybe. Because I think the things that got the most iteration to them and the most feedback and the most data were things that were used in Arena Commander. So FPS, engineering, and master modes. Master modes, lots of salvaging needed to be done there. FPS, not as much. I think FPS has been getting better every patch. And engineering, it seems like they got a lot of data. And I think everybody that watched the, for the most part, everybody that watched the ISC on engineering were pretty happy with their thought process on what they want to do.
Yeah.
Everyone except for one person I saw on Twitter who said, this is too simple. Damn CIG simplifying everything in the game again. God damn.
Oh my God, get a life. Get a life. This guy has no life in real life, so he wants to make his real life in a video game, I guess. It's just so silly.
Yeah, but we're talking about a salvage strategy, right? So it's not going to fix the problem, but no, it's proper cakes and festivals for everybody involved.
Like what the hell does proper cakes and festivals mean?
I don't know what it means, but I think I just use context clues. It's like the
yeah. Hey, hold on, hear me out. Hold on.
All
right,
I gotta
so
lower you.
it's cakes. Sorry about that. It's cakes and festivals, right? Like it's going to be something that distracts people, but only in the sense that they put a little bit more thought into Arena Commander.
Okay.
Okay, so you were looking at Forge Anvil earlier, or the it was Foxhole, right?
Anvil Empires, yeah.
Anvil Empire, yeah. So
medieval Foxhole for people who don't know.
Yeah. So like, I mean, that could still is a long shot, but I mean, couldn't that be a way? There be a way to justify even mining in a small instance, like say you do have all of Stanton as a few planets or something like that as your field, getting materials, yes, a little bit of crafting, getting materials that you would need to take down an enemy location on some other planet, whatever like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's the way I see it.
I want things to matter, right? And Foxhole has the proper crafting. That's why, like, the year can't be salvaged for me, but again, as long as for me, as long as the direction of the game is going in the direction I want it to go in, I'm only me. I can't speak for anyone else because I think it's what's best for the game is that more player-driven economy type stuff, because we already have some fairly fun mechanics. They just don't connect to anything, and they don't make sense in the grand scheme of the world. And I think if they spend more time having them make sense in the grand scheme of the world and us working together to reach common goals, whatever those goals may be, they still need to figure out as well. I'd be happy. So I don't know.
It's
very Foxhole.
We'll probably go more into it when we get to the Citizencon predictions episode. But so the economy team have existed for just over a year now. Or at least they've been
that we're aware of
just over a year now. And so that is now sort of what feels like sort of enough time to at least have like a plan for what you want, end development economy to look like. So one of the things that, once again, won't salvage this year, but could go a long way to making me feel positive about their direction is an economy presentation at CitCon, right?
Yeah. Well, last thing, I'll wrap up here. Actually, to answer your question, Croncy, earlier, what is the metric of change? Is it better this year than last year? I would say, yeah, despite of all the jankiness, which is pretty much the norm, they've been steadily and surely like adding things in, and they are showing progress. So I mean, you can't get mad at that, man.
I played more last year, though. I played more.
That's true.
That's true. Very true. But
I do have to say, as I asked the question, I remembered 318, and I was like, all right, this is kind of a silly question.
Yeah. but really, like, if you look past 318, when Salvage came in, I played the shit out of that. And then the piracy gameplay was like really going, and like I played so much more last year than I did. I barely played this year. I played Arena Commander a ton, but I did not play the PU almost at all.
Yeah,
AC will never die. All right, boys, I'm gonna get out of here.
Later, VR.
Awesome. Cheers, VR. We'll catch you soon.
All right.
Bye. Speaking of VR, apparently, like, it's broken and you can't use it anymore.
Wasn't it using third-party tech anyway?
Yeah, but like they broke that workaround or whatever. Yeah.
Well, hello, Danger Vince. Danger Vince.
Going once.
Hear me? Sorry about that.
Yep, all good.
Oh, hey guys. Sorry about that. Mike was on mute. And happy birthday, Croncy. I'm going to make this quick because I need to go and pack because I'm due to fly out on holiday tomorrow. So I'm going to miss the start of like Wave 1 when it happens, but I'm not really caring that much because I'm going to be spending 10 days in Florence. So I'm gonna
Nice.
have good food, good wine, and a really good time over there in Italy.
Nice.
So
I'm putting in the topic. Danger Vince is bragging about the holiday.
I thought he was going to like South Carolina.
No,
like,
not quite.
Not where you want to be right now.
Well, I was actually sat here listening to the start of the show and thought, wait a minute, Mike's talking about a lot of points I wanted to bring up. Croncy's bringing up a lot of the points I want to talk about, and some of the callers were as well. And I'm going, a lot of people can steal my thunder. I'm glad they didn't. Essentially, for CIG to kind of salvage this year, possibly next year for me, I'm thinking big here, I would want them to introduce something like loyalty points from Eve. I want them to actually turn around and say, right, okay, we know you can buy stuff on the store, armor sets, paints, ships, ship packs, you name it. But here's things that you can never buy on the store. And the only way you can actually obtain them is in game. And the reason why I was thinking about that was
contested
in Eve,
zones.
you've got the loyalty point. Exactly, you've got contested zones, and Eve, you've got the loyalty point system. So, Mike, you've said this in the podcast today. You can lose your ships, your equipment, your implants, and your rigs.
We were talking about this before the podcast today. Like we just went on a rant about insurance and why these sandbox games make sense and why everything about CIG and Star Citizen. If you're gonna do crafting and we're gonna be crafting ships, you got to be able to lose. Like we just started going down this rabbit hole, and I opened up Eve and showed them all the different tech levels and talked about the idea that
all the different times that Mike has lost money, but it's been good and it works. That's why it's good, right?
Yeah, exactly. I got a reward for losing 20 ships the other day. It's like nice.
Let's go.
Yeah,
exactly. Well, the thing is, it's with the loyalty point system. It kind of incentivizes you into working with that faction, so you can build up your loyalty points, and even if you get taken out in even PvP or your own stupidity, which I've done quite a few times going into wormholes and not paying attention, it's not too bad because I say, right, well, I've got a bank of loyalty points. I can buy back some of the faction weaponry or the blueprints and start to build back up. We need that in Star Citizen desperately. And they've kind of hinted upon that. I was trying to find the footage on it from last year's Citizencon. Remember there was a screenshot and they had the guy with the Kovalex jumpsuit?
Yeah.
And he was stood in front of all the different Kovalex items. Why is that not in game yet? That should be segregated entirely from the website. That should be only in game. That should be quite literally your because me and my wife used to play a lot of World of Warcraft. If you saw someone in Stormwind with cool armor, the first thing you would do would whisper them and say, where did you get that from?
Yeah.
Would it drop? You know, what did you have to do? I want that in Star Citizen. I want us to start to steer away from the website and go, let's have it in game.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of faith in or a lot of hope, I guess, in the contested war zones to be that. Because obviously in Star Citizen, you know, it doesn't have to be loyalty points in the form of you get a different currency to do whatever. It just has to not be purchasable by real money, right?
Exactly.
The whole game needs to deliver that. It can't just be the contested zones. The contested zones has to be the first push of that snowball down the mountain, right? That hopefully will gain some momentum. That's where my hope is on it.
Exactly. It's just this will be hopefully the first time that we get to see them try it.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. And I don't care if I lose it. If I go on let's say a HRT mission and like someone shoots me out the sky and I lose that armor set, as long as I can get that back in game, it doesn't matter. I don't want a retrieval set. I want to re-earn that back in game.
I'm going to go so far to say that I hope we can lose it.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know, but there's always the option to say, right, well, I know where I got that from. I can go back to that asteroid base.
Yeah, re-earnable or whatever. Yeah.
And I can get that again through my own actions, not by going up to a console and cashing in an insurance claim. I think we really need that.
Yeah, I mean, unless it's like the loyalty point system where you farmed enough reputation to go to a console and rebuy it more easily or whatever. But eventually that loyalty will run out if you keep losing it and you haven't re-earned it back or whatever, you know?
Yeah. I think that's pretty much it. I better go back. I actually need to drop my two dogs off at the dog sitter before I actually finally pack my bags.
Go, get out of here.
I need to go. and I'll let someone else come on. But yeah, that was pretty much it. I think we need risk reward, and we need the ability to actually lose things because there's no way they'll let us lose the ships. We might as well lose something else.
For sure.
Yep.
I'm glad you brought that up because a lot hinging on contested zones. I think for sure.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
Awesome.
Catch you later, Danger. Enjoy
Right,
your vacation.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Just because I just thought of it, but it was just, sorry, KingJasper. Let me just piggyback off the last call really quickly.
I'll give some time to unmute and all that stuff.
True. Do imagine, I think like what he's saying is really on point. Do imagine at SitCon, they literally showed us, here is the item, and explicitly said, only earnable in game. Obviously, they then have to do it.
Not insurable.
Yeah, exactly. I would be, all right, sweet, good. You're in the right mindset. Continue doing that, but you're in the right mindset.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, we need
KingJasper, how you doing?
We need to praise good behavior and shun bad behavior. We need to continue to do that.
Yep.
King, can you hear us?
Yes.
All right, welcome. What do you want to?
Howdy.
How and if can CIG salvage this year for you? If you even think needs to be salvaged, I don't know. Maybe you're loving this year.
Or how was Evo?
Yeah, we didn't have anybody.
Not Evo player. I do know some, and I know some things about it, but they're mostly PvP related.
Say them.
So
yeah, I would want to know a lot about that.
It's looking to be just more and more unbalanced at the moment. There's a couple of bugs, a couple of things where the ships that are good are still good or even better. The slowdown in speeds and stuff kind of indirectly buff turrets again, and they're already pretty good.
Dude, I want turrets to be OP.
I don't want them to be OP, but I thought turrets needed a buff. Weren't people complaining that multi-crew ships were getting dominated by lighter ships from far away or some shit? I can't remember.
If you're in a big ship, sure, but
you're talking about Hurricane Scorpius?
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure,
gotcha.
Sure. But I don't know, like I'm kind of I think there's a recency bias, so I think that realistically they could say, oh yeah, we're dropping Pyro in December, and I think that would save a lot of it, and that would do a lot of good for it.
Yeah, but, I mean, it would be the biggest piece of the Citizencon puzzle would be delivered this year. It would not be delivered in the 12 months time from when they announced it, but it would be delivered within a year of the year of the year of Chris Roberts, our Lord, 2024.
Yeah. I do want to touch on something a little bit unrelated. I brought this up a couple of months ago now about how, hey, they're adding these new cargo elevators. I predict a problem where people in armistice zones are going to have people running onto their ships, and there's nothing they can do about it. That exact thing happened, and I saw it happen.
Nice.
Interesting, because I haven't heard much complaining about that.
Go hang around SMO 18.
Yeah, the one trading location that people are pirating.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is an issue then, yeah.
Go there, you'll have someone rush your elevator the moment you call it up and send it down, and if you don't have that, they'll rush onto your cargo hold, and you basically just sit there and look at each other.
Until someone logs off.
Did we not spend 30 minutes to an hour, or I think I did an hour-long React video staring at the picture of the outpost going, this doesn't make sense. 6 months before that came in. That sneak peek came out.
I don't know. I feel like they just didn't listen to a single, basic pirate.
Yeah, or anybody. Because, whoever thinks that, someone like me has any influence on what these guys do, they don't give a shit what we have to say. They are going to do what they think is right, and they're going to wait until we lose our minds, and then they will do it. They will not take one individual's feedback. They are looking for actual, tangible data instead of, even if I could be completely, perfectly right, I don't think they'll make too many changes based off of one individual or a few individuals. Like look at master modes. They're doing like Google sheet things. They're trying to get you to fill out paperwork to try to find out what people are actually thinking. It's so
I wonder if that's why that exact issue hasn't been fixed. You know, most people have not been. Well, they've either just been doing straight up cargo missions because they're available and new content, whatever. But also like trading's been like very buggy, right, in the last couple of months.
Yeah.
So it's probably just not enough people have come up against that problem for CIG to give it a priority.
I mean, I'm curious, do you experience that when you're doing cargo missions? Like
No, not when I'm doing cargo missions.
I've never
and then
seen
I don't
anybody
do trading.
I've never seen anybody.
Yeah, the servers are too empty.
Yeah.
I mean, I think part of the other problem is that...
You gotta know that me and Croncy play at like the dead times too, so we'll see just less people in general.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the other side of the coin is that it's not worth pirating cargo missions because I think they're only worth like 80%. They're worth something significantly less than the actual value of the raw cargo.
We got to cut you off for a second because Phil, who is a producer at CIG for the entire PU, I believe, just typed something that was really interesting. To help clarify some confusion around 324.2, the patch size and the amount of changes beyond what was communicated. 324.2 is using the 4.0 code base. So it is not on the 323 code base anymore. So
it was very interesting.
Yeah, and it's just minus like the server meshing and 4.0 exclusive stuff. So it's just that's if people are confused why I was very confused why it was so unstable. Now I know why it's so unstable. It makes a lot more sense.
That also potentially says a lot for like the future testing of 4.0 possibly being faster and only being focused around the new stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thank you, Phil. But yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm hyped for the Zeus. I'm hyped for the other, the .2 changes that are coming and the MFDs and everything.
I'm
and
so
everything.
Sad about the Zeus. It's so pretty, but it's going to be so shitty to run cargo in. I wanted it to be so good.
I think it'd still be fine for the most part. It's just for like a very niche use case that you particularly have.
What? To be able to move cargo around it and not bang into walls?
Don't stack it too high. Just don't stack it too high.
Cargo's niche.
Yeah. I don't know. It bums me
It'll
out.
be fine. I think really, Mike, you've just been spoiled by the larger cargo ships now.
No, I think it's just like all of the cargo ships have this problem except for a couple, and it's very interesting when you use the cargo ships that have external cargo and don't have that roof as a boundary. Is like, wow, this is much easier to work with, and it's like, oh, if CIG knew this problem, the ships that we have now would look entirely different.
Sure.
Or the size of boxes maybe would be different. I don't know. I don't know. The metrics would be different. That's all I'm saying. Whether it was the boxes or the ships. All right.
Yeah.
King, I've talked and we have hijacked your shit too much. So go ahead.
Not a problem, mate. Yeah, I think I don't know. Pyro is obviously on the way, but as a PvP player and a pirate in some parts, in some respects, it sometimes feels like you're kind of a second-class citizen in the game currently because of the way certain elements are designed.
For sure.
Hey, do you not think that most players feel that about their particular niche? Like, more to say that I think what you're experiencing is pretty common. Like, the amount of people that I heard... Yeah, the amount of people I heard that were complaining about when the freight elevators and stuff came out is like, God damn, I hate CIG. Why do they keep releasing patches that like have nothing to do with the game? And it's like, well, it's because all you do is do, your bounty missions over and over. Or the one that I like to bring up because I'm part of the community is the racing community. Something breaks, doesn't get fixed for a whole patch cycle. And you do get some people from the community being like, oh, why does CG always do this? They're always screwing us over. I think there's just so many niches in the game that people are always bound to feel that way. I hope for your sake that when 4.0 comes out, you don't feel that way. And I do want CIG to focus on piracy for the pirate system, right?
It would make
That's
sense.
that's all hyper valid. That's yeah. I don't know. Like the thing that like stuck out in my head was there was a period of time before EVA where they'd broken comm arrays. Like you just couldn't take them down.
Yeah.
Yep.
They fixed it when they did the EVA patch. The very next hotfix, it was broken again.
Classic.
Yep. I will say that they are definitely thinking about this stuff because many people looked at 324 and were pissed that they removed the buy locations for drugs in Stanton. But it was guys, like they're doing the right thing. They're prepping for 4.0 where you get them there and you have to bring them here. It's
they didn't remove it for a meme. They didn't remove it to make the game worse.
They removed it to make the game better. It just sucks that they removed it before they didn't have to remove it now, but you could see what they're doing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that falls into the category of like, hey, we're doing this temp fix because we're prepping for this thing. Don't do that because a temp fix becomes permanent because you never know when you're going to be able to drop this next thing.
Yeah, but at the same time, like I'm so tired of that. Like I used to be on the this game needs to be fun now. Nah, man, this game needs to be. Period. I'm so tired of waiting. I've changed my mentality on this. Completely flip flopped. I used to be like focus on making the game fun now, and then we'll be able to be more patient. Nah, you're so far away from this game being fun that you have to rewrite the systems that need to be rewritten. You have to prioritize the unfun shit. And then, to keep it on topic, that's the only way you're going to salvage Star Citizen. Yeah. You can't unless you focus on development towards the end or towards whatever 1.0 or minimum viable product or whatever you want to call it is. You have to focus on that exclusively and nothing else. Because if they don't, that's how you end up where we are. You end up here. Yep. This is where we are. Yeah. This is exactly what happened this year. Oh, let's Band-Aid fix the elevators. Let's Band-Aid fix transit over and over again so we can get this cargo patch working, which no one cares about because people are enjoying it, again, using the word no one, but no one cares about it because we all know that in the grand scheme, this is going to be a small blip. Remember 3.7, 3.8, some of you guys? Those were amazing patches, but they impacted the game greatly in that moment. But if you look at the impact that they had now, they're almost meaningless. That was the Grey Cat Rock was 3.7, right? It was awesome patch. But what does it mean today? It means very little in comparison to what it meant then. We have to work towards this great grand game that has all these little things that we enjoy doing. And hey, today I feel like driving the Rock around, right? Or I need something that the Rock does because we actually made a game where the Rock matters, right? Yeah. That kind of thing. So we need to do more of that. But
yeah, no, that's absolutely true. Yeah, thinking about it, I think it was like sometime 3.18 to like 3.20 when they added SPK. That was a pure content patch, and it was really good and really cool. But after a couple of months of that, it was just, okay, when's the next bit of content coming out? And it's just going to be like that with Pyro as well. It's going to be, we're chasing the next thing. They need to just focus on dropping the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, it's also why we're such advocates for progression, because that is a failing system that you will just have people log on for the new stuff, leave, log on for the new stuff, leave. If you want to keep people playing, right?
It's
otherwise,
an MMO.
it'll be boring always.
Exactly. It's an MMO. So. Yeah.
Oh, I basically haven't done a single rep grind until recently, just for like a unrelated reason.
Yeah.
So
cool.
All right,
we'll probably have to kick you off now.
Yeah.
So we appreciate your call. Thank you very much.
Yep, and sorry for hijack. We hijacked a little too much on him, so we'll try to be better. Or I will, not we. Echobit is here.
Echobit.
Hello, friends.
Hello, Echo.
Howdy, Echo. For anyone who doesn't know Echo, the head of Enzia and does the Scarlet Apex and the Cross Cup and embarrasses me and Mike every time we try to do any form of Gravlev racing.
Yes, but also is very willing to help and show her lines and all that stuff and help us improve. Very open to and friendly.
Let's go.
Yes.
So I'm Evocati and I tested the current build as well.
Tell us.
And as you requested, Mike, I'll talk about the the update to all attributes of components first. So
yes,
all components now have new HP and damage type resistance values in preparation for engineering, which lines up with what Phil CIG is saying about this being a 4.0 staging patch.
Awesome.
So a lot of the new attributes added values needed for the resource network to understand how much power a component is capable of drawing, and what point of power assignment means to that component. So life support, thrusters, and radars are all physicalized components now in the game. They were all added to every ship and vehicle, even if they were placeholder. So there's a physical item in there now for that. And that all ties into Resource Network, which is now in all ships and ground vehicles. And keybinds were added. For anyone wondering, like anyone worried about this as a combat pilot, or even if you use it on the regular, the keybinds are the same as the power triangle one, but with the addition of Alt to remove power blocks from it. And a heap of binds were added for all the other components, if you desire. And then, of course, we've got the MFDs to interact with that resource network. Yes,
Can I ask?
Yep.
Did you see a difference between industrial and like competition components? Did they do that stuff yet, or is it still more of the like everything is the same? Okay. Small.
Yep.
I thought there was going to be great.
The power generators all generate. I think they're starting out small, but yeah.
Okay.
Power generators definitely have a certain amount of capacity they can generate. So light fighters will be like 10 blocks of power. Bigger ships will be like 20 or 16 to 20, and so on. It's not too varied at the moment, but there are differences there. So they are prepping for that. And some components have more blocks that you can assign, others less.
Sweet.
And it automatically adjusts as well when you switch between SEM and nav mode. One thing I would encourage you to check out is the ground vehicle MFDs, because they're all new. They all have like speed gauges now. Even the Pulse LX MFDs, and there's lots of them, are all projected off the physical bike. The Pulse LX, there's little like divots that were in there before. Now they actually project the MFDs up as a visor. It's so cool.
Sweet.
Nice.
And on the new here, tattoos and piercings,
I was just going to get one more clarification on the components. You said like different resistances to different damage types. So are we to assume that like some components will have
different damage
minus
types.
X% to laser, minus X% to ballistics, or something else?
Distortion?
Yep, exactly like that. So the power generator is more resistant than other components, but like the radar might be less resistant to distortion.
That's so huge, because it means you can like tech to like, I reckon these guys will be running some ballistics.
Or you
make
can
it harder
ahead.
for me to kill, or like
or maybe you want to target that
that
specific
can be
thing.
So huge.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
So cool.
Very cool.
So
I was hoping it was like
and
this.
Piercings, yeah, exactly. More hairstyles than I expected. At least 10 or 12 of them, and I feel like they're all the assets that were designed for Pyro and its gangs. They just had that kind of vibe. So it's really cool that there's a lot more assets in there than we might have thought.
I got to jump in on that for a second, if you don't mind.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep.
The one thing that somebody pointed out in my Discord from Citizencon, I think, was they had talked about us being able to earn tattoos as like rep rewards. So keep that in mind for next year, maybe, or the end of this year, or 4.0 or whatever.
There weren't too many tattoos, and some of them felt like the base level that you might earn. So hopefully they do give us higher tier tattoos. That'll be sick. Okay, new Arena Commander UI overhaul. Very nice. And as seen in the FPS and Tonk Royale, the Good Doctor map is now added into Free Flight. It's Planet Maya from Layer 2 in the Layer system. Another cool atmospheric map. And you can spawn ships in there now, which is nice.
Sweet.
Yeah, they do ground, air, and FPS spawning on that map, which is cool.
And FPS. It does all of them. Yep.
That's the only thing in Evo I've seen so far.
Travel markers were added.
Yes,
Yep.
I heard about this. Someone was talking about it in my stream. So quantum markers have been changed, the actual icons.
Oh, okay. How
Yeah.
so?
Yeah, they're just different now, but
Okay.
they're the
Different
same
shapes.
color. They're just all blue right now, but just different shapes. Yeah.
Okay.
And
They certainly
chip
sounded more
performance changes
recognizable,
on
which is
the.
good.
Yeah, they're definitely a little bit more distinctive, but still samey as well. And on the ship performance changes, the max boost speed reduced across all ships. Acceleration is not changed, so the effect of maneuvering is still as normal. So this means that I think they're targeting straight line speed, combat speed, trying to reduce the top speeds of chases and running away in a straight line. But otherwise, like maneuvering around ships in combat, it feels the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And just one other funny point. Eerie Ray-10 was the only working this spawn.
Yep.
And I tried to find the quasi-grazer, the space cow. I couldn't find all the creatures. I couldn't find any creatures at all, or any mineable rocks. There's a bug with the terrain where everything fell onto the center of the planet. So just imagine hundreds of space cows and mineable rocks, all
just a
compressed
ball
at the
of 'em.
center of Microtech.
That's
Love
funny. That's funny.
So that was funny, and that's my Evo experience.
That was a good experience, and I was not interested at. I almost hate that I heard all this because I was like, I'm taking a break. I've tested so much. I'm so exhausted.
Mike's logging in the second the pod's over.
Pretty much. Yeah, I'll probably eat some food and log in. Like, yeah. Now I'm very interested.
Those component changes are awesome. They sound huge.
Yep.
Obviously,
Thanks,
like
Echo.
the balancing will be a thing, but the fact that they are a thing is it's awesome.
It feels very much like a pre 4.0 patch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like
this
you,
is
like
this
Phil
is the
said,
patch before we get 4.0.
Yeah.
or you can look at it in my glass half empty kind of way. Is it's all the things that can be in a 324 that were from 4.0, but Phil changed my mind on that one and said we're on the 4.0 code base. So what's up? It is 4.0 technically, just without the important stuff.
Without 4.0.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else you want to talk about before we move on to our last caller?
Just, how can CIG salvage this year? I think they can salvage it with a discussion at Citizencon about Star Citizen 1.0 and what the company goals are for it.
True. They still have not. They talked about it way early this year. You know, we're making a Star Citizen 1.0. We're going to figure out what our goals are for it, and they haven't talked on it since.
Yeah.
So,
and I'll say again, I will be excited by the discussion of the direction of the game, but I will not believe anything they say in terms of timelines, in terms of the way how polished they seem to make it seem like it'll come in.
The quality of it.
Yeah, but the thought process is what matters, because for so many years the thought process was only selling you on art and ships, and now it's very much selling you on what we're going to do, and I'm way happier with that than what we had before, so I'm not going to complain about that.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right, well, cheers, Echobit. Thanks for calling in and giving us the Evo news. That's hopefully Corrupt for Fun doesn't bring us back down into a bit of a slub, because that was a good
awesome.
good end there. So thank you very much, Echobit, and
Echo.
we'll see you again soon.
Lovely to see you. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
I wish we had more Gravlev to talk about, but they took it away. All right, Echo. Talk to you soon.
Catch up.
Bye. All right, and then Corrupt for Fun's going to be our last caller.
Corrupt for Fun. What would you like to talk about?
Oh, cool. Happy birthday, Mike. I hope that
40 is good to me. It's going very well. Yeah, the dog is mostly out of the cage now and living free. So yeah, it's gone very, very well.
Oh, cool.
Do you hear us in Discord, or do you only hear us through the stream? I always have to ask this when it's delayed a bit.
Kind of hearing you in both.
Perfect.
Yeah, cool.
That works.
Kind of hear you in both.
Oh yeah, so you're gonna answer it twice then. Cool. So hold on, this will be fun.
Maybe turn off the stream.
Yeah, mute the stream.
Yeah. But yeah, what would you like to talk about? Whoop.
He's muting the stream, hopefully.
Okay. So I think a lot of quality of life changes need to happen between now and 4.0. It's great that we're getting yellow haircuts, but I really want my Dapper Dan haircut back.
What's your Dapper Dan haircut? What's it? Yeah.
Googling it as we speak.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
George
yeah.
Clooney.
Like,
Like
George Clooney. They're like short on the sides.
Yep.
It's the Peaky Blinders haircut.
Yes, that's it.
Oh, that's gone?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So a lot of quality of life stuff, especially in Stanton. I think if they expand the bunker missions downward, using or making that a much larger area, that would definitely help.
Bunkers or distribution centers?
Bunkers.
I'm fairly sure they're going to get rid of bunkers, or at least it's essentially like legacy location stuff. They might not get rid of them, but the way that they've been talking about them, they don't have any plans to add anything to them. They'll just make other things.
That makes sense. The other thing I think that really needs to happen is we need to see whether it's a tech preview. Those happen more often, and obviously I agree with Mike that you have to see progression. Even if they're not getting to 1,000 when 1.0 hits, 400, 600, maybe even 700. That'd be awesome.
Or 400 or 500, but keep improving on optimizing our frame rates, server frame rate, our
like heavy
client performance, or whatever. Like pick a number and then just make it as good as you can. That could be a thing at some point as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Beyond that, I think that's pretty much it.
Last caller. Most people say a lot of things right before you.
I think that the bigger changes that I'd like to see with cargo is the branded cargo.
Yeah.
That way we can.
There's a lot of like missing out. Right?
We can split apart what we're going by company.
Yeah. I want to work for a certain company. I want to get a skin for that company. I want all my cargo boxes to be from that company. Like the idea that the ore color, like, all right, this box is green, that box is gray. We're past that now. I want my Red Wind themed boxes.
Yeah, you want the stuff that they showed at Citizencon when they were talking about freight elevators.
How crazy is that?
I am kind of surprised at that one though, because I would imagine that it's mostly just art.
Yeah, and they sneak peeked it twice.
Which
as
CIG
well.
do a great job of it. Yeah.
They did the sneak peek twice on that.
That's it for me, guys.
Easy. All right, man.
Easy.
Perfect. He ended us right at noon, right at the stopping time. So Corrupt, thank you for your call, and we'll catch you next time, man. Be good.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and that's another 2-hour show in the books. I remember saying, "There's no way we'll do 2 hours on this."
No shot. I will have to say, a lot of that is because we've had a lot of callers because you guys are awesome and you've been wanting to hop in and chat each week, which has been great.
And people are cool about like respecting each other's time as well. It's like, oh, that's all I got. Moving on. Like it's been a lot better. So I think we've trained them well now. Finally, of like, hey, we want to get a lot of people in, and every week we're getting like 7, 8 to 10 callers. So yeah, we're making them a priority feels good. So I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as we are when it comes to that. I think it's been a really fun part of the show. So
yeah, for sure.
But that's all we got for this week. It's kind of a slow week. Hopefully we got some more iterations of Evo. Hopefully we got a really good server meshing test early next week. And maybe Citizencon predictions next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, according to Xylo on Twitter, I believe, at the very least, Citizencon tickets are going out this coming week. So probably along with that, we may see the schedule. And so if we do, we'll do a little prediction about what all the things are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, some devs are saying in my chat, like, you'll see me on stage. Like they're like confirming internally now what they're going to be doing. So it shouldn't be long before we hear those external communications of what they're going to be doing. So cool. Yeah, and that dev that said that is a Squadron 42 and Star Citizen mix. So he's probably going on stage for Squadron. We'll see. Yeah. So, all right. Well, as always, guys, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, hit the like button before you're done watching the stream. Apparently that helps really well. I don't really know how streaming algorithms work. Get subscribed. We are like 25 subs away from 5,000. That would be a great milestone for us. That would make Croncy have a very happy birthday, I think. So make sure you do that if you haven't yet. If you're watching on Twitch, go to YouTube and hit subscribe as well, because you probably didn't catch the whole episode. And if you're watching on Twitch, I guess hit the follow button and all that stuff. But go to YouTube.
If you're watching on YouTube, come to Twitch and follow us.
Yeah. Both me and Croncy, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, we appreciate it. And don't forget. Whoa, new phone?
I've had this for a...
Really?
Mike does not pay attention. Answer the call.
Answer the call. I didn't even notice. Did it have a case on it or?
No, just look. It's got a thing. It also has. Oh,
it has a thing. I got rid of you.